is on your website. So you always have to make sure that your website is on brand. And what do I mean by on brand? I mean your logo is there. So when people go there, they see your logo, they're like, oh, like I know this, I've seen this before. So it's very important that you make sure that it's there. But before we get into that, I know some of you who's watching now, you might not have a website, and that's perfectly fine. But I'm not going to tell you guys exactly what websites you guys should go on or what platforms you guys should use. But I want to just remind you guys that there are websites like Wix, like Squarespace, there's Shopify, there's Sellify, there's BigCommerce. Those are all e-commerce websites that you can use to your advantage if you do have a product that you're selling, or you have things that you want people to know about. That website would A website as your home base, as who you are, your own platform, is very crucial. A lot of us, we're not good with graphic designing. I can say for myself, I'm not very good with graphics at all. So websites like Canva are very good because it helps bring everything together. It helps create those beautiful visuals that you need. And or Visme, or even using other websites like what is that website called? I can't remember it now, but there's like several websites that you can use for those visuals if you're not good with graphic designing. So when it comes to websites, I also want to talk to you guys, which is something that's very important, the do's and don'ts, basically. So with the do's, do want to say that you want to make sure that your website at all times is mobile friendly. We're accessing our websites on our phones, on our tablets, on obviously our laptops, on our those smart fridges that we have now. We can access any website on anything. So you have to make sure that when you do create your website, although it's PC friendly, but it's mobile friendly as well. So always double check, because that's very important. You want to make sure that whoever your target audience is, they're getting that customer service feel. They're feeling included. Like you have to put your head in. I want to say that you will have to put your head in the same place as who you're trying to target. So let's say you want to target someone who's into arts. You have to make sure that your website is visually appealing, because if someone's an artist and they're into art, that's going to be very important to them. You also have to make sure that your website is not like it doesn't have a lot of clutter, because clutter gets very overwhelming and it's not very aesthetically pleasing, and then it can create a problem, because if there's a lot of clutter, then there's information overload, and I'm not going to be interested in that. Nobody's going to be interested in that. So that's something that you have to really keep in mind. You also have to keep in mind that there is a 2-second rule when it comes to websites. It needs to load within 2 seconds. So because we're very busy and we're always on the go and we're always on a run, if your website is taking more than 2 seconds to load, whoever it is that's accessing your website, they might not want to get on it. They're going to be like, okay, well, this took too long, I'm not interested. Even if they like your product, and even though they like what you're selling, because your website is taking so long to load, they're not going to be interested. And I also want to talk about visuals. Like I said earlier, Canva is extremely important when it comes to creating those beautiful visuals. So you want to make sure that your website, everything that you use on your website, it's very crisp, it's very clear. There's websites like Pexels, like Unsplash, like Pixabay, like Pexels, Unsplash, Pixabay. Those are all Shutterstock, I believe it's called. Yes, Shutterstock. Those are all websites that you can use that has those free stock pictures. So let's say you don't have pictures saved up for your website. Those are all websites that you can use that has those stock pictures that's going to create the feel that you want. So when you're creating your plan for your website, you have to make sure that everything transcends on it. So it's very important that you keep that in mind. So from our website, we're going to go to social media. Social media is basically like the one thing that I love to talk about. To me, I love how it used, well, to social media, we're able to access so many people, and we're also able to just connect with people. I love connecting with people, so that's really one of the best strategies out there. I want to say that when you're creating your content, especially when it comes to your brand, social media is extremely important, but you need to make sure that you are creating content with that has strategy. So once again, you're being very purposeful, you're being intentional, and you're making sure that whatever you put out there is basically, the way I want to put it is you're putting out there what you want to be hired for. So if you want to be high, whatever work you feel like, oh my gosh, like I would, if I was a buyer, or if I was whoever, and they are and they're looking at my page, they would be interested in this. So that's what you're putting out there. So when it comes to strategy is extremely important. So if you have to plan out your post for the next for the next week, for the next 2 weeks, for the next month, there's websites like Planner, there's Preview, there's Planoli, there's Unum, where you're able to not only plan out your feed, but you're able to just make sure that the colors transcend to that. So when you're planning it out, if you feel like, oh my gosh, like this doesn't look right, you're able to switch it out, because things happen, life happens, and you have to make changes every day as they come. So with those websites, you're able to preview your feed and see exactly how you want it to look. So I'm going to talk about the key features that we have on that we have in regards to social media, only because I feel like we all know about it, but it's always a good reminder to know about it. For example, your story, right? We all use our story. We all post things in our story. I feel like not our stories is basically a preview of what our feed is going to look like, right? So whatever you put in your feed, so let's say you post a picture or you post a video, because videos are getting videos are how people are connecting nowadays, right? So if you're posting a video, you're posting a story, just make sure that you always post it on your story as well. Like from your feed, you've shared on your story as well, with a call of action, and you let everyone know that, hey, I just posted something and this is very important. I would really love for you guys to check it out, whatever it is. So now they know that, okay, well, let me go look at her feed really quick. Let me go see what she has going on, because your story is how, like, your story is how people are going to be able to basically see what's happening. And the thing is, the story is at the top, so you already know that before anyone goes through your feed, they're going to click on their story first, which is going to help with like traffic and all of that stuff. Also, your profile picture, that's extremely important. Make sure that if you are running a business website, that your profile picture is either of your business logo or whatever, or of you with something that has to do with your business. So it's not just a random picture, but also make sure that it's very clear, it's very crisp. It's something that people are going to remember. That's what is going to make someone, I'm so sorry, click on your profile. So that's something that's really important. Remember how earlier I said your website is your home? So if your website is your home, I want to say that your profile picture is kind of like your display, right? So it's your trophy case. So you need to make sure that these pictures you're posting things that are clear, that you're being very intentional with. But not only that, but let's say I'm an artist, or I'm an architect, or I'm a photographer, or whatever business that I run, or whoever I am. If I'm posting a picture of, let's say, a chair, there has to be a reason why you posted a picture of a chair, because if it's not, and it has to be on brand, right? Because we've talked about brand. We've said that a brand has to do with you and the stories that you tell, and you're creating content to back up that brand. So if you're posting a picture of a chair, I need to know why. I need to know the story behind it. I need you to like, when you post something, for you to leave your audience wanting more, that when they leave the website or they leave your social media and they go out there, if they see the color red and blue, that they're like, oh my gosh, like that's Susie. Susie's brand is red and blue. So I'm automatically associating Susie with red and blue. Is the same thing with the things that you post. I also want to talk about just making sure that you have the human element to the things that you post, because yes, let's say you do have a product, yes, you do have this thing that you're selling that you want to give out there to people, but because we're humans, we're very emotional beings and we like to connect. So seeing that there's a person in the post, it's going to make people want to click on it more than not, you know. Like it's good to post, it's great that you're posting things about your brand, but if you can have someone in the picture, anything that's going to humanize the content, you're going to get more out of it. So I do have this page that I really want to show you guys about, because I think she does a really great job at showing what her brand is, and showing her colors, and knowing exactly what her mission is throughout either her personal page, her social media page, as well as her website. So we're gonna go to her page now. Her name is Fayin. I'm not really sure how to say her name properly, but her name is Fainon, I want to say. And this is her page. If you look, this is her personal page. So she has a personal page and she also has a business page. And I know some people, they might not have, they might want their personal page to be their personal page, and then their business page to be something totally different. And that's perfectly fine. Everyone has their own, everyone likes their own things, how they like it. And that's perfectly fine. But I just want you guys to see how she carries her brand colors, her mission, what her value is, what her storytelling is. She carries it all throughout. So this is her personal page. As you can see, she in her picture is very clear. She, in her bio, she says that she's an ocean earth lover. She has her business page out there. She has her website. It's very crucial that you always put your website in your bio, only because you want that website traffic. So if someone goes to your page and they love it, you want to make sure that your website is already there and that they can just click on it and then they can see more. So she's done a great job with that. If you scroll down her Instagram, you can kind of see that she works a lot with close-up details with like the arts that she creates. She is a self-taught painter, and she does a lot of arts and crafts. The only thing I would say when it comes to her posting things, I guess because now, well, she did a great example there where she explained, she told a story. This is the story in regards to what she posted, which is great because as you're reading the story, you're going to connect with her. You're going to understand why this. And if you're interested in it, obviously you're going to go to her website. This is her business page, which as you guys can see, it's the same thing as her personal page. So it still deals with the sea, and it's still, you can see the water theme. You can still see the different hues of blue. And what she's done with her personal page, like I said, is she added elements of her in there. For example, her doing the art, for example, her hand holding on to one of the things that she made, her interacting with her dogs or her pets, her family. She made sure that it's there, which is okay because if you look at it, she's humanizing the post. She's humanizing what she's creating. And if you go on her website, it's the same exact thing. As you look at her website, you can kind of see that she keeps with the same theme, which is what is really important. You want people, as soon as I think sea, let's say I go to the sea or whatever it is, as soon as I think of that, I'm going to say, oh my gosh, like I know so-and-so who does it. I know her website, like she works with the sea, she does this. So that's very important that we keep that in mind. As we scroll down, you can kind of see the things that she's made and the things that she's selling. And what she also did, keep our oceans clean. And what she also did is she told her story. So it all goes back to telling your story. She told her story. She started from the beginning, and then she also talked about the movement, which is basically, this is her mission. Her purpose and her mission is through our artists to raise awareness to the protection of the ocean, which is why all of, you can see the hues of blue in all of the posts that she creates are very intentional. I think that's very important, and that's something that we always have to keep in mind. So from social media, we're going into networking. So I know a lot of us, we're shy, right? We're shy. And I'm the same way too sometimes. Like, you're afraid to have those conversations, or you're afraid to reach out to that person. You're afraid because you're afraid of the no. But like I believe Porter Gale said, your network is your net worth, which means that you bring value to whoever is around you. And it's the same thing with whoever is around you. They bring value to you, right? So you have to make sure that, although yes, you're shy, but you have to put that shyness away and go to those communities, join communities, or if you don't have any Facebook community or Instagram people that you want to follow, or YouTube or whoever, make sure you're creating that community for yourself. So you're not just because if you think of something, right, and you want to do something, I'm pretty sure 1,000 other people think of the same things, and they want to do the same things as you, right? So you always have to make sure that you're joining those conversations and you're actually interacting. So you're not just sitting down and you're just joining, you're not doing anything, but you're interacting with people. You're using your audience as your best resource. So if someone goes on your page and they like something or they comment something, don't just like their post, but interact with it. Like if they say, oh my gosh, I love this, thank you so much. Like have somewhat of a conversation with them, which is going to have them come back for more, because that's what we're looking for. We need the traffic. We want people to come to us because we have something that we want to give them. We're also networking up and across. And what do I mean by up and across? It just means that although yes, you are connecting to, let's say you're, once again, you're an artist, you're a visual artist, you're an architect, you're a lawyer, you're a doctor, whoever it is. If you feel like someone is influential to you and can help you out, yes, I would obviously say you have to reach out to them, and make sure that when you reach out to them, the first time you reach out to them is not to ask them for a favor. So you're not going to reach out to someone and say, hey, I like your stuff, so here's what I need from you. I need for you to do this. It's not going to work out, right? You have to make sure that you build a rapport with the person, that you're talking to the person. You have somewhat of a, like you've had somewhat of a conversation with them before you say, okay, I would love for you to help me with this, and this is how I can help you, and that's how, and for us to collab or do whatever, right? And it's okay for you to have a mentor as well, because with a mentor, you're able to help. You're able to not only learn from someone who's gone through what you're going through, but you're also learning some skills that you're gonna use so you can network across. And by networking across, I mean using your community, the people around you, like let's say your friends, your family, your colleagues, people who people that you see, or people that you might not see, but you have somewhat of a rapport with them. So let's say I'm having an event, right? So I'm having an event, and I know that Susie posts about being in her artwork and, this, like all of the things that she does, right? I can reach out to Susie and go, oh my gosh, like I'm having an event and it's an art event and I would love to collaborate with you. I would love for you to be a part of it. And as I'm talking to Susie, I tell her, oh, but I also need a photographer, so I'm working on it. And oh my gosh, Susie knows Henry, and Henry is a photographer. So now I'm in contact with Henry, and Henry's like, like, how's everything going? And we're working together. And oh my gosh, like I don't have a website. Wait, but David, he's a graphic artist, so that's perfect. you know, like those are all things that we always have to be aware of, and we have to be mindful of, is that as yes, it's great to network up, but we're also using each other as resources. That we're not just going, okay, well, I can do this myself because I'm going to reach out to this person. And if that doesn't work out, then I'm going to reach out to this person. Like, no, like there's people around you who are as motivated as you, who are as passionate as you, who wants to be a part of what you're doing, who loves your mission, who loves the value, or who can help you. So make sure that you're putting things out there and you're talking to the people, because you just never know. And it's always great to ask, because there's nothing wrong with asking. The worst thing that can get said if you ask is a no. And guess what? If someone says no, you just ask someone else. And if they say no, you ask someone else. And if they say yes, guess what? That's it. You got your yes, right? So that's very important that we keep that in mind. So with building our brand, we have to tell a story. From telling our story, you know, we're creating our platform on our websites, and we are making sure that we're very intentional and purposeful and transparent and honest when we're on our social media. We're creating communities, and we're networking across and up, and we're doing all these things, but we need to also make sure that we are growing. Growth plays a huge part in the things that we do on a daily basis. Because if you're not growing, but you're starting a business, you're starting a brand, right? So in order for you to do so, you got to make sure that you're growing. If you're not growing, then you're either at an incline where it's like you're staying stagnant, which is not good. I mean, staying stagnant could be good, but not all the time. Or you're receding, and you never want to regress. You will never want to go back. If you're starting something and that's your passion, you want to make sure that through it all that you're growing and you're learning. So that's why we need to make sure that we are very we're very transparent, we're very open, we're very honest, and we need to make sure that we're having those uncomfortable talks with ourselves, right? We have to make sure that we understand why we're doing things. And especially with this quarantine that's happening now, where a lot of the people they're not working. A lot of the people, their income stream has been cut and they don't know what to do, and they're going crazy, and oh my gosh, oh my gosh. So now is the time for you to really sit back and really access what you're going to do. Really think about, okay, what am I going to put out there? What kind of content am I going to put out there? Let me figure out what strategy am I going to use to grow right now? Because right now everything's at a standstill. So how do I constantly make sure that I'm growing? How do I make sure that whatever it is that I want to do, that is getting done? And that's where we have to really look at what's happening out there. We can't go out. Everyone's stuck at home. How do you get to their homes? How do you get to them? It's by the virtual things that we do now. For example, this webinar. I'm online with you guys, right? Like we're having conversations, we're talking. So those are like things that we have to look for. Look at online online platforms where we can hold events or meetings, like Zoom, like Big Maker, or like if you want to do exhibitions, like ArtStep is a really good website that you're able to have those virtual exhibitions to showcase your work. You have to make sure that we are in this is 2020. So there is nothing technology wise that we cannot use to benefit us. That's why it's there, right? If it's there, if you're going to use it, you got to make sure that you're using it and you're using it right, and you're using it for a reason that's going to make you better, that's going to make you grow. And you're gonna get, and make sure that now's the time to get those feedbacks from your audience. So if you want to send out surveys, if you want to make those videos and see what happens with those videos, see what people are saying, see how people are interacting. Make sure you're talking to people and you're building those relationships, because right now, as you're going steady, and you know what's funny? When you're excelling and you're propelling, it's great, right? Because you're going as fast as can be, and it's great and it's amazing. But sometimes you come at a standstill, right? And now's the time that we're going steady. So you're pacing yourself. You're making sure that you're pacing yourself, and you're not just putting things out there just to put things out there. Make sure you have a strategy. Make sure you're getting feedback. You're getting the data. If you're posting something, even let's say whatever you post doesn't get a lot of likes, you're not doing it for the likes. You're doing it because you like your project, you like the thing that you created so much that you posted it. If it doesn't get a lot of likes, that's perfectly fine, because guess what? Somebody else is going to see it and they're going to love it, right? You need to make sure that when it comes to growing, that you're not going against the current. So you're not, like, let's say the water's flowing, you're not going against it, but you're going with it. So wherever it's taking you, you're just going there with it. You are just making sure that, you know, you're being as transparent and as honest as possible. And the guide that I'm going to give you guys, I want you guys to really sit and really think about everything that you're doing for your mission, for your brand. And then from there you can figure out what's your goal. Like right now, if if you don't know what to post, that's perfectly fine. This is the time for you to sit and really audit your website, audit your social media, audit your life, see the things that you want to do, and who should you connect with, who should you talk to. But this is not the time for you to be going live for no reason. This is not the time for every night for you go live and you're not putting anything of substance out there. This is not the time for you to just be posting pictures just to post it. You need to make sure that you're being intentional and there's intent behind everything that you're saying. Before I show you guys the website, the 360 marketing guide, I want to show you guys two other websites that I think they've been doing such an amazing job when it comes to just using their social media, using their website and the contents that they post. I think they've done such a good job. Hold on, give me 1 second. Let me see. Okay. So if we look at artistic crafts, right? What I started from the bottom, but we're gonna look at it starting from the top, right? You from the jump, the first thing I see is the bio. The bio is crisp, is clean. It says be bold, be daring, be different. She doesn't have a website, but she has an Etsy account where that's where she does her sales, and that's perfectly fine. Her picture is very crisp, is very clear. There's no clutter. It's on a white background, which is even better. And what I love, we're gonna start from the bottom and go up. If you go from row to row, you can kind of see that all the pictures are the same. And in regards to the backgrounds, you can see what she's selling and you can see her logo. So every time you see these things, like, you already know that, okay, this is her, right? And she also uses the human touch, which is, you know, her or whoever the model is or whoever she's using, wearing the earrings or wearing the shirts that she's selling. So we're able to connect to the brand, and it's very clean, it's very crisp. And also she's using hashtags, and hashtags are extremely very important. The reason why I say hashtags are very important is because a lot of times that's how you get a lot of traffic to your website, is via hashtags. So just because, and I also want to make sure that you know that just because you're putting down a hashtag and the hashtag has 1,000 or 1,000,000 likes, that doesn't mean anything, because just because 1,000,000 people is using the hashtag, that just means that it's so busy that your post can be all the way at the bottom and nobody's going to see it. So that's why I like to mix and match the hashtags that you use in regards to, like, some hashtags has 1,000 people who's used it, or 1,000 people who, or 100,000 people, and that's perfectly fine than having a hashtag that has 3 million people. And also Nat, when you look at her page, what I love about it is that because it's social media, we're very nosy, right? We want to see how things got started, like how did it finish, like who did what, and that is what she does on her page. So you can kind of see like the different things that she's done when she starts a drawing and when she finishes it. So we can see like, okay, well, that's the journey that she went through to get to where, to get to the finished product, right? So I love that she's done that. And because she's not like the Faye, she's not like Faye, who has her personal page and her business page and her website, but she only has her personal page, and she uses her personal page as well for her as a business page. So she's very intentional on like the things that she posts and like the things that she says. And yes, sometimes she does post herself, but she's posting herself with art. She's posting, herself. She's posting herself so we're able to see who is the person behind the brand, who is this, who is not. And if you go on her website is the same. So her website being her home base, she made sure that, yes, there's her picture there, but then you can kind of see what her bio is. And at the bottom, you can kind of see the same arts as you see on her page. You get the same feel on her website. And then you see more things like the past exhibitions that she's gone to, the works that she's created and all of that stuff. And those are all things that are extremely very important. I really want to make sure that I tell you guys that when like it can get overwhelming sometimes, like especially when you want to grow, it can get overwhelming, but you just need to make sure that you're on brand, right? And this is why you get the 360 marketing templates. Basically what I use to really plan, visualize, execute anything that you're going to need to execute. Right. And the great thing about this is it's not a one-time thing. So it's not something that you can just use today and then you never use it again. So you can use it today to sit and talk about and think about what your brand is and who you are and how you want to start. And then, you know what, in 6 months, just to have an internal audit, you use it again. If you have an event, you use it before the event, after the event. You can use it a year from now, 2 years from now. Those are all things that you're going to need. So I made it very general, but very general, but very informational, so that the things that you're putting down are really things that you see for yourself, for your vision, for you to grow, for you to, network, for you to be where you want to be. Right. So the very first thing that I have at the top is, what is your purpose? So you're going to put down, why do you like what you're doing? Like, what's your purpose? Why do you want to do it? Why do you think that, this thing is, why is this thing keeping you up at night? Basically, why is it so important for you to do this? Why are you interested in it? That's your purpose, and you're going to have to write it down. So now the minute you write it down, guess what? Every time you're going to post something, every time you're going to do something, if you have that guy with you, you're always gonna go back to it and go, hey, like, is this aligned with my purpose? Is this what I want to do? You're gonna talk about your colors. Once again, your colors is extremely very important. You're gonna is your colors red and blue? Is your colors green and white? Is your colors purple and pink or orange, or whatever your colors is, the color is for your brand, you're going to put it down. So that's just to serve as a reminder that, okay, well, those are my brand colors. I'm not going to customize my brand colors to whatever I like, but I'm customizing whatever I like to my brand colors, and that's it. What is your mission? What, like, what your purpose is, right? You already wrote it down. The reason why you just keep waking up at night, because, oh my gosh, I want to have this done. The reason that keeps you up at night, that's your purpose. But now, what is your mission? So you're going to use your purpose to know what your mission is. What are you trying to solve? What are you trying to help? What difference are you trying to make in someone's life? That's what you're going to put down as your mission. And what is your 30-second elevator pitch? So an elevator pitch is basically, so let's say you're at a networking event, or you're at a grocery store, or you're driving around somewhere, or you stop by the post office, or you're walking down the street, or you're at the park, wherever you are, right? And you see, or you have a conversation with someone who can help you, or you have a conversation someone who's interested in what you're interested in. People lead very busy lives, right? So you have to make sure that whatever you write, whatever you say, that they're going to know what it is going to be something that sticks to them. So when they go wherever they're going, and they're talking to whoever they're talking to, they can go, oh wait, I think I remember David telling me something about he likes to do X, Y, and Z, like something that's going to stick. So as an example, I'm going to ask Tamara to tell me what is Atizai's elevator pitch. What do we tell people when we just meet them? 30 seconds.
Hey guys, can you hear me well?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, so basically, Atiza is an online platform and community rooted in culture, diversity, and art, where we provide artists with multiple outlets where they can tell their stories, experiences, promote and sell their artwork. We also believe in representation and meaningful art, so all artists and art lovers are welcome to join the family. Also, if you're looking for a space where you can express your ideas, just express yourself, bring awareness, educate yourself, then you can join our community by following us on Instagram at atizai_shop.
Yes. See, that's exactly what I needed. Like something that's going to stick. So from what Tama said, you heard we're an online platform. You heard that, we're rooted in diversity in art and in culture. You've heard that, we like to represent people, and not just anybody, but artists and art lovers alike. Like you've heard all of these things. So like now if you go out and they're like, oh, like I want to do this, or how do I do that, you're going to remember like certain keywords. Those are things that stick to you, that you're going to be able to communicate that with them. So with that, we're going to talk about what is a SWOT analysis, which is basically the acronym for your strength, your weakness, your opportunities, and your threats. So your strength is what are you good at? What can you do? What can you teach? What is it that you're like, you can do this in your sleep without a doubt, like that, if I can get hired for this, that is your strength. Your weakness is what you're not good at. So let's say you're some type of artist, right? Whether it's you do art, you do photography, you do arts and crafts, you whatever it is that you do, that can be your strength, but then you're not good at creating a website. That's a weakness, right? So you would write those things down, like whatever it is that you think that you're not good at, you're like, those are weaknesses for you, right? You write those down. Opportunities for growth, or where you see that, okay, well, this, it's not too complicated, so I'm gonna be able to do it. So those are opportunities where, okay, well, I can, like, I'm not very great at this, but I can use this I can take a class and use it to my advantage. Those are things that you're not bad at, but with the education, knowing what your skill is and all of that stuff, you're able to get good at it. You're able to get great at it. And your threats to your brand are basically your competitors. Whatever it is that whoever your competitors are, whatever your competitors are doing that you're not doing yet, those are all threats to your brand. Now, your weakness can also be a threat if you let it. So let's say you're not good at, once I'm going to use the same example that I did earlier. You're not good at creating a website, but your competitors have a website. Everybody has a website. You're not good at a website, but then you also don't want to create a website. You don't want to have your own platform, or you just want to you just want to, use Instagram or use Facebook. Then that can be a threat to you, because having a website, that's your home, right? That's free, that's your own platform. Whereas Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, those are not your platform. So anything can happen. We've seen so many times last year and this year where Instagram has shut down, where stories weren't, nothing was loading, where Twitter has shut down, where YouTube had issues. And then, so what happens then? How can your audience reach you? So those are all things that we need to keep in mind. So what are your goals? So every week, so now that you know what your purpose is, you know, like, you know, you've had that very uncomfortable talk with yourself, you've shed so many tears, you know what your brand is, you've done your SWOT analysis, so you know what your strengths are, you know what your weaknesses and all of that stuff. What are your goals? What are you going to do? What's the one goal that you have for yourself every week? What's the goal that you have for yourself every month? You have to write those things down because you're going to keep yourself accountable to them. And I'm going to personally keep you guys accountable for it too. So you have to make sure that, you know, you're putting these things down for yourself. And it says, my goals this year, I will. Notice I didn't write I'm going to, but I put down I will, only because like we're not gonna write these things down and then not work towards them. This is not the time for us to just say, okay, I'm gonna do this, and then you don't have any action to back it up. We're gonna be backing up our words with our actions from now on. So this year, what is your goal, and what are you gonna do, and how are you going to achieve it? Projects in the works are the same thing as projects that you would like to be a part of. You can write those down and then just see how you're gonna go move forward with that. I want you guys to always remember why you're doing what you're doing. So always remember what your mission is. Always remember that you are your brand. Like a brand isn't something that's very shiny. It's not like, oh my gosh, like this super expensive, super like, I don't like, no, your brand is you. You represent your brand, you represent yourself. Like, you know how you want to be portrayed. You know what you want to be, you know what you want others to know. You will know what your target audience want from you. So act accordingly. You have to make sure that you're very consistent. Consistency is key. Now, I'm not saying to just, post whatever, do whatever, but make sure that you're being consistent with everything that you do. That we're networking up and across. We're, getting a mentor if we have to. We are using each other as resources because we all are resources to each other. And you're also having fun. Your brand is your baby. Your business is your baby. That's your passion, right? And think about pet owners, or think about, like, I don't want to compare your brand to like a baby or like or a pet, but think about how regardless of whatever happens, whatever struggles, whatever, like anytime you've lost sleep, but you still love it. That's your passion. That's what you want to do every day. So make sure that you're having fun, because the moment and I'm not saying that it's going to be fun every day, because sometimes you're going to be tired. You're going to shed tears, especially when you're not funded by anything and this is your brand or you're doing it full time. You're going to shed a lot of tears. You're going to cry. It's going to be hard at times. And I don't want you guys to feel like it's going to be easy. Entrepreneurship is not easy. Like it's going to take some time for you to understand, to get a momentum, understand what the momentum is. And once you get a momentum, sometimes things happen. And that's where I want you guys to really pace yourself. Like, don't think about, oh my gosh, well, this person started or that person started. And no, pace yourself. As human beings, our ability to adjust is one of our biggest assets. We're able to adjust to any situations. And I want you guys to use that to your advantage. Like, life changes daily. Think about us being in quarantine now. I bet like back in December, you would have never thought we'd be here, that we wouldn't be able to go out, right? So life change every day. We have to just flow with it, just go with it. But as long as, you're making sure that you're staying on brand, you're making sure that you are like, you're your biggest asset. You're making sure that, you're using your resources, that you're not just posting, but you're being very intentional, then anything can happen. You're going to succeed only if you're willing to. Like, you have to really want this. You have to really, and it's something that you have to be strict about, in the sense of just understand that, okay, well, this is my goal for my life. This is what I want to do. How do I get there? And whatever happens in life, it doesn't have to be this factor where, okay, well, this happened, so now I'm not going to do anything else anymore, you know? So thank you so much, guys. I'm so glad I was here to talk to you guys. It's been really fun for me. So now I'm gonna answer any questions that you might have. This has been really fun.
Thank you, Nikki. This was great. So to everyone that don't know who I am, my name is Christy. I'm one of Antizai co-founder, and we'll be having the Q&A with Nikki right now. So if you haven't dropped your question yet, feel free to put them in the chat right now.
I'm excited. Can't wait to read.
All right. So first question is from Ivna. Is it necessary to have more than one social media platform?
It all depends on your target audience and what you're trying to put out there. Because if visually, if your brand is more visual, then I would say you want to be on Instagram. You want to, especially like with this video thing that we're doing now, you want to be on YouTube. You want to be on Facebook. I wouldn't necessarily say Twitter, only because Twitter is it's not a visual website, right? So it all depends on your product and what your audience is saying. So let's say you're putting things on Facebook and you're also putting things on Instagram and you're getting more of a traction on Facebook. I'm not saying because you're getting more traction on Facebook to stop Instagram, but make sure that you're focusing on that. So it all depends on what your target audience is saying, what you're putting out there. And if, let's say, for example, how do I say this? For example, you like arts and crafts, right? You're gonna want to showcase it on Instagram, right? But don't forget, there's also websites like Pinterest. Pinterest is really, and a lot of people, they don't really think about Pinterest, but Pinterest is really big right now. Pinterest has, like, where a pin on Instagram or what a story on Instagram lasts for 24 hours and that's it. A pin on Pinterest lasts for 2 months. So that's 2 months where, like, it's pinned, people are going to see it, people are going to hopefully react to it. So don't only stick, I wouldn't say only stick to one social media platform. Kind of look around and see what your audience is saying.
And the next question is from Botol. What would you consider the do's and don'ts of branding as far as logo? Because as of now, I have lettermark logo, which I think can also be used as an emblem, and the wordmark logo. Would it be okay if I use them interchangeably between content, or should I keep to one logo until rebranding is needed? So oh, sorry. Before you answer that, for anyone that doesn't know the difference between the word mark and the letter mark, even though it's a little bit self-explanatory, but for example, word mark would be Google. So that's the word mark. And then for the letter mark example would be H&M. So for people that don't know.
So I would definitely say do not use your logos interchangeably, especially when you're starting out, because a lot of people, they don't really know your brand. They don't know what you do. They don't know anything about you. So I would say you keep one logo because it's great for recognition. Keep it for as long as you can. And then when it's time for rebranding, you rebrand. But even when you rebrand, make sure that you're not rebranding, you're not changing your logo so much that it's unrecognizable. Because think about the perfect example, I believe, was IHOP. I believe it was IHOP. And IHOP, International House of Pancakes, and then they wanted to introduce, I believe, burgers or burgers or something into their brand, and they became IHOP. They became this weird brand. It was a weird name, and people on Twitter and online and everyone had, like, they really tweeted a lot of negative things about them, they had a really huge backlash that the next day they had to change the name back to IHOP. So you have to make sure that when you are changing your brand, that it's not so unrecognizable that people just don't think about you anymore and they think it's something else. Be very mindful of that.
And another question from Boto is, what would be a good starting point to address your weakness and threats to your brand once that is determined, and how fast should one act upon it?
I would say the minute, like, let's say you're creating an event, the minute you know the minute the idea sits in your mind that, okay, I'm going to create an event, you need to figure out what your SWOT analysis is. So what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Where's opportunities for you to grow? And what are the threats to your event? And you have to do that immediately. So as soon as, let's say you want to do an event on the 31st, but then the 31st is Halloween. So that's a threat to your event. Cause maybe some people are not going to go out on Halloween, or maybe like on that day it's a religious day where people don't celebrate, or whatever it is. Those are things that the minute you know what your weakness is, what your strength is, what the opportunities are, you have to act accordingly immediately, expeditiously.
All right, so, and then another question from Christy. How do I add all the hashtag that I see people add under their picture? I guess like a little bit about the research, like how do you pick your hashtag? Is it a simple Google search?
So it's great for hashtags. I would definitely say, instead of putting it right under your picture, like in a comment, in the, like where you would put the quotes, like put it in the body. So like in the, wherever the comment section is, that's where I would put it, only because it's more aesthetically pleasing that way. And also make sure that the hashtag that you're using, that they're not used for something else. Because I know you don't want to use any hashtag and then when someone clicks on it, it's something negative, because you don't want to bring that to your, that's how intentional you have to be. Like, you have to research your hashtags thoroughly and make sure that it doesn't bring any negative feedback to your business. And one thing is, you can also use branded hashtags. So let's say, for example, Atizai, right? Like the hashtags, like hashtag Atizai shop, hashtag Atizai blog, like whatever it is. So when people click on those branded hashtags, only your brand things pop up. So those are very important.
This is Tamara. Like, one quick thing I would add as well, like when you're looking up on the internet for hashtags, you can use hashtag generators for suggestions and then look them up. Like, if you don't have ideas, because it happens to me a lot. Like, I want to use hashtags on a post, but I'm not sure like what else I could add. So you can use the ideas on generators and then verify what they look like on Instagram, and then go from there.
That you're not only using basic hashtags like
Mm-hmm.
love, hashtag art, not art, but hashtag, like those basic hashtags like hashtag sun, hashtag whatever, like you're not using those, only because so many people use them that your post is going to literally automatically be at the bottom of the page. So if somebody clicks on the hashtag, they might not even see your post. So you
Yeah.
said earlier that you're using a mix of the hashtags that you're using, they're a mix of like things that people aren't using as much, that people are using a lot. So then it balances it off.
Mm-hmm.
And I have two other questions from Raina. So the first one is, what's the best way to network right now, since we all can go out and attend events?
So I would say reach out to the person on Instagram, reach out to them on Facebook, reach out to them on Twitter. Join those communities, those Facebook groups, those LinkedIn groups. There's those communities, join them and interact with people. Make sure you're talking to them. Don't be shy. Like, reach out to them. Like, if they post something that you like that you think is informational, or you like it, and put a comment. Like, don't be afraid. Like, my thing is, I don't ever want anyone to be afraid that, okay, I don't want to reach out to this person because this person is going to tell me no. I don't want to reach out to this person because, oh my gosh, like, what if the person doesn't like my page, or what if the person, like, don't be so in your head that you're stunting your growth, or you're stopping yourself from talking to that person. Like I said, make sure that you're interacting with their posts, because as you interact with their posts, you're going to be on their radar, right? And then as you DM them, I'm not saying to DM them every day, like, okay, well, I need this, I need, like, no, like, take your time, interact with them, build a relationship, because that's what networking is. Networking is relationship building, right? So you're gonna build this, this honest, like, transparent relationship with them. Like, you're going to build that, like, you're gonna have this authentic connection with them, so that when you do end up asking them, like, hey, I would love to, I love what you post, and I would love to do this with you, that they're going to be like, okay, like, I've talked to you before, I've interacted with you before, I know what you do, and I believe in what you do. So yes, I would love to collaborate with you. So those are the things that you have to make sure that you're like, the things that you have to make sure that you're doing, that you're not just sitting down and hoping and wishing, but you're going out for, like, you're going out to get what you want, basically.
And is it better to comment on other similar pages to promote your work, or is it more organic to go with direct messages and make it more personal?
It all depends. Either or is fine. Whether you're commenting on their page, on their wall, or you're sending them a direct message, either or is perfectly fine. It's whatever you're used to. I would say I would start, like, personally, me, I would start off with, like, liking their posts, commenting, like, because sometimes when you're writing, like when you're storytelling, like, as I said, when you're putting those quotes and you're, like, write their storytelling and you're reading it, you're going to want to respond and write a comment, right? So as you're reading comments, like, whoever that person is, hopefully they are, replying and they're responding, and they're not just liking just to like. And then from there you can build that relationship. Like, once you build that relationship, you just slide in the DMs, do what you got to do. It works.
Thank you, Nikki. So that was the last question of the night. I don't know if anyone else have any last question that they want to ask, but we'll be sending out the digital marketing guide for everyone at the end of the webinar. It will, if you didn't have time to write down any of the resources that Nikki mentioned, this will be also included in there. But most importantly, the 360 marketing template will be included, which will have, like, everything that Nikki talked about, and that hopefully you guys can not take it and then print it and put it aside, but actually write down your vision, your mission.
Holding you guys accountable to that. So, like, and use me as a resource as well. If you have any questions for anything, don't be afraid to like, email me. Like, the guide, I believe, has my email. So
yes, it does.
I'm also gonna put down my Instagram handle as well. Like, DM me if you guys want, if you guys are more comfortable with that. It's whatever you're more comfortable with, but use me as a resource. I'm here for a reason. I love digital marketing. I love, like, that's, like, my thing. So I don't mind and I'm always learning, and I'm very good on, like, educating myself on, like, what's the new thing, what's, like, what people are doing now. So whatever it is that you guys need, please reach out to me.
Yeah. All right, then. Thank you, guys. Hope you guys have a great night. Hopefully, we see you guys our next virtual event. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much. Bye.